He has the fellow of this Canadian, has Remunerative Fellowship, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. He has been awarded with ICMR International Fellowship for Young Biomedical Scientists. He has been given a fellowship by Canadian Institute of Health Research, and he has also been elected to the National Academy of Science India. So he has many publications to his credit and has published in many reputed international journals like Molecular Cell. It's a dream journals, like we want to publish in such kind of journals. That's PNAS, that's Proceedings of the National Academy of Science USA, PLOS Genetics, iScience, DNA Repair, Molecular and Cellular Biology, Journal of Biological Chemistry. He has more than 3,000 citations to his credit. So he has a lot, we all have an inspiration before us. So and he has 8 ongoing projects and has already completed 4 projects from DST, DBT, ICMR and RUSA. So he is has been very instrumental in establishing the Center for Interdisciplinary Research and Innovations at University of Kashmir. So without taking much of your time, I would like to request Dr. Altaf Mohammad Bhatt to come onto the desk and share his ideas with us so that we all will be benefited by his experience, his journey to achieve such a feat in science. So please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Samina, for the wonderful introduction. I'll talk a little bit about my journey because I think it is the science, popularization, extension, innovation. I think it is important, to send a message, especially to the students, that you have, every capability, you have every ingredient in you to take you to the places which are best in the world. You have the talent, you have the potential to reach the best, universities, best institutions in the world. So I'll, start. So I started, from, it's a government school. I was born in Panchpora village. It is very close to Sangam. So I did my schooling from a government school, and by the way, this is the latest picture of the school, okay? So, you can imagine 20, 25 years, how would have been the condition of the school. So I did schooling from here, and I mean, this picture is, it doesn't need any introduction. I graduated from GDC Anantnag in year 2000. And then I moved to University of Kashmir for masters. I did my masters in biochemistry. And then I moved to Laval University, Laval Cancer Research Center for my PhD, where we were trying to understand how genes work. Okay? And then from there, I moved to Harvard University, Boston, where I was working as a research scientist for almost 4 years. And then so this is Dr. Jack Szostak. He was awarded Nobel Prize in 2009 when I was working in Harvard. So there was a ceremony in his honor, and then this is where I took this photograph. And so I usually don't show this journey, but I have given talks in almost every continent except Africa. But today's talk is very special for me. It is again an honor and a privilege to be talking about your science at the institute where you have started your career. In life, we move to different institutes, we take different paths. At that time, we don't realize things, but when you move ahead in life, you see how significantly that every institute has contributed in your life, how every institute has contributed in your career. So I am, deeply grateful to GTC Ananta for contributing in what little I have achieved today. So with this message, I'll tell one thing to students. You can dream big. There is nothing in life that can stop you. As I said in the beginning, also, you have every ingredient. You have everything in you to move to different stages of life. You can dream big. It's not difficult for you to reach to Harvard, MIT, or Caltech, or University of Oxford or Cambridge. You can go there. It's absolutely not a big deal. But what you need is the motivation, the goal that I have to do this thing in life. Doesn't matter what I'm going to do. So you need to have that dedication. You need to have that motivation, and you need to refocus all your energy into that direction to achieve that goal. As I said in the inaugural session also, I have interacted students from every corner of the world, from Europe, from Africa, from Middle East, from Asia, from Southeast Asia. And when I compare them with our students are not less than them. We have amazing students, exceptionally talented, but again, what we need is the direction, what we need is the awareness, what we need is to inspire them and tell them that yes, you can do it, it's not difficult. And if we are able to do that, and I think we can take our society to entirely a different level. All right. So then in 2013, I moved to Kashmir University, and 2020 we have started a new center for interdisciplinary research and innovations. This center was mostly, the objective was to bring young, talented scientists from outside, from Europe and US, to take up research positions in Kashmir, to address societal problems, one. Second, also to promote interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research, and also help in brain circulation. Brain circulation in the sense, for example, each one of us, we contribute in our own ways. When you train a student, when you show him the path, when you help him to achieve his goals, you're in other ways, you're helping a full family. Tomorrow he succeeds in life, he achieves things in life. So he's able to support his whole family. And tomorrow that student he can help 4 or 10 more students. So this is how, in a very small way, we contribute to our society. And the aim is again the same thing, to help our students to do good science, address societal problems, and go to better or the best places in the universe, in the world. So this is our faculty strength at present. We are around 7 people, and there is no disciplinary boundary. We have people from physics, chemistry, biology, because when it comes to research, there are no disciplinary boundaries. It doesn't matter whether you come from zoology, botany, biotechnology, physics, chemistry. I mean, that interface of science is so beautiful, and you can address more impactful problems if you are able to connect the different sciences. We always look at the problem through individual perspective. Suppose, for example, somebody is suffering from a disease. I give examples, diseases again and again, so don't be scared, because I come from that background, so this is what comes in my mind. So when somebody suffers from a disease, we only look at the patient aspect. But psychologically, the family goes through a lot, right? The whole family ecosystem gets disturbed. So it's not only about the individual patient, it's about the whole family, which gets disturbed because of that problem. So the medical problem has social aspects as well. It has social connections as well. And when we address those problems together, then we will have a better understanding of how a particular disease affects not only the individual, but also the whole family. This is what science can do. This is what interdisciplinary science can do. Address the medical part also, but we can also address the psychological part of it. So this is our aim, is to integrate different disciplines and try to have a holistic and a comprehensive approach of different problems. So I'll come briefly, I'll tell you a few slides. I have made it very simple because people come from different backgrounds. Why your DNA is in the whole story. Right? This is the area that I have been working for the last 15 years. We always talk about that DNA decides everything, right? We say that we are what we have inherited from our parents, right? But that is not the case. There is much more than that. Now, or in other words, do your genes determine your entire life? No, they cannot. I will tell you why. Now, if we look as humans, we all start from the single cell. A single cell, two cells come together, they form an individual, right? So what does that mean? So every cell in our body has the same DNA. There is absolutely no difference because our origin was from the single cell. That single cell divided into multiple cells, then organs came into existence, then finally an individual comes in the picture. That means every cell, if you take DNA from a nerve cell, DNA from a kidney cell, DNA from a heart cell, it's Xerox copy. There's absolutely no difference. Now the question is, if every cell has the same DNA, why do cells work so differently? A nerve cell cannot do the job of a kidney cell. A kidney cell cannot do the job of an intestine cell. So if DNA would have been the deciding factor, then the cells should be able to replace each other. But it doesn't happen, right? So this is where a field which is called epigenetics comes into picture. Epigenetics is above or on top of genetics. Okay, I'll give two simple examples. If we take DNA as the hardware, epigenetics is the software. It tells for example, if you have a computer without a software, it's of no use. It's like a box, right? But once you install software in it, then the computer can start showing its color. Then it can start functioning. It's exactly the same thing. If you take epigenetics away from DNA, the DNA doesn't know anything. It cannot do anything on its own. Another example I give it quite often in the classes. Car. A car has everything. It has a brake, it has an accelerator, it has a steering, but it cannot drive on its own, right? What does a car need? It needs a driver, which can negotiate, which can tell it where to go, when to stop. So this is exactly what epigenetics does to DNA. So it's like, it joins different puzzles of the biology. And it makes us unique. It makes us who we are. There was a debate long back why we have red cheeks, right? But, 3 years back, why we have red cheeks, right? This is because, it makes us who we are. It makes us unique. I'll give you another example. You take identical twins. You have one, they come from the same egg. There is no difference at all. You put one in some remote area, whereas there is less access to, facilities, less education, and you put another child in an intellectually rich environment. You bring them after 15 years, they will not be same individuals. They will be completely two different individuals. But they came from the same egg. Their DNA was exactly the same, but they have turned out into completely different individuals. So this is where how epigenetics makes us different from each other. I'll do a few more slides and then I'll come to the topic. So epigenetics gets influenced by everything. What you eat, whom you interact with, where you live. So everything, what we do in life, has an impact on our genes. Now I'll give you an example. October is the breast cancer, was the breast cancer awareness month. Now if you look at breast cancer, 15% is the genetic cause. There's only 10 to 15% of cases where they have a genetic problem. But 85% of people who get breast cancer, there is no genetic history, absolutely nothing. Their parents are normal, their grandparents were normal, but why suddenly this has come in an individual? Because our lifestyle, the way we live, it has an impact on our genes. It has an impact on the software that tells our genes when you have to turn on, when you have to turn on. If the software gets disturbed, if there's a malfunction in the software, the hardware will automatically start showing problems. Now, how does epigenetics work? Two more few slides, then I'll go to the next one. Okay. Now, if you take, every cell in our body has around 2 meters of DNA, each cell. And when you look at the diameter of nucleus, it's around 10 micrometers. So it's around, you take 2 meters of thread and put it on the tip of a needle. And you can imagine how difficult it is. But nature has beautifully designed life so well that everything fits there. Now, if we look at DNA in the cell, it's never present this way. We see in the textbooks you have a double helix string. It's not, within the cell, the DNA doesn't exist like this. The DNA is wrapped or coiled around a lot of proteins. Because see, if you take 2 meter thread, you tie it around this hand, you can reduce its size. You tie it again, you can again reduce its size. So one way of accommodating large DNA in the small nucleus is wrapping it around proteins. But this is not chance. It is not that nature has just kept it like that. There is a purpose. And so what happens? The DNA gets wrapped around a lot of proteins, and these proteins plus DNA, now they decide when the gene can be turned on, when the gene can be turned off. And these proteins, they undergo a lot of changes. You can have sometimes addition of a methyl group, addition of a phospho group, acetyl group, ubiquitin group. So different types of changes happen on the proteins that are part of DNA. And these changes, they decide the downstream functions. They decide when the gene can be turned on, they decide when the DNA can be replicated, they decide when the DNA can be repaired, they decide the recombination. So everything that happens from the DNA, anything, all the functions that originate from DNA, they are decided by the epigenetic mechanisms. All right. Suppose, see, I'll give a simple example. All of us know that RNA polymerase comes, it binds to the gene, and it tells it that, okay, you have to turn on. Suppose, see, you ate food which is rich in proteins, or which is rich in, let us presume, lactose. You need an enzyme, lactose dehydrogenase, which will degrade lactose, then only it will metabolize. If that doesn't happen, you will have a stomachache. Now, who tells lactose dehydrogenase, okay, this is the time you have to turn on? This is the time that there should be production of lactose dehydrogenase. So, and one thing. The second is, how does RNA polymerase knows that when it has to bind? I mean, it can bind in the middle of the gene, it can bind at the end of the gene, but we know that the RNA polymerase has to bind at the beginning of the gene. If it cannot bind at the beginning, you will have a protein which will be of no use, and then you will have consequences. So, who tells RNA polymerase why to bind? So, these epigenetic mechanisms, they act as signals. They ask the RNA polymerase, okay, you can come now, turn on the gene. Once the gene is on, your job is done. Another thing comes, okay, you go away, it has to be off. So, it acts as a traffic signal. You have the red and the green signal. So, these mechanisms tell RNA polymerase when to bind and when not to bind. That is one. The second thing is, this is one of the problems that happens in most of the cancers. What happens, one of the major causes of cancers is the defective DNA repair process. See, in our body, the DNA gets damaged regularly, through endogenous as well as exogenous agents, like UV, medicines, reactive oxygen species. But nature has developed a mechanism within the cell that whenever there is a cut in the DNA, a process comes together and they repair it. And if that fails, If that mechanism of repair fails, it will lead to the formation of more cells with damaged DNA, which will eventually cause cancer and other diseases. Now, the point is, how do proteins know, the repair proteins know where is the damage? See, our genome is so big, and damage happens randomly. There is no specific place where the DNA damage happens. It happens randomly, it can happen anywhere. But how do repair proteins know that, okay, the damage is at site A, we need to go there, repair it. Now the damage has happened at site B, we need to rush to the site B and repair it. Now, how do these proteins know? So this is again these epigenetic modifications or changes that I have briefly talked about. They act as landing platforms. They tell the proteins, okay, there is the damage, you have to come repair it. Once the repair is done, the epigenetic modifications disappears. So the repair proteins are released so they can go somewhere else. So the repair of a damaged DNA again is controlled by these mechanisms. And there are a number of diseases, where this software problem happens. You have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, you have heart, neurodegenerative, hypertension, obesity, autoimmune disease, kidney cancer. So you talk any disease. Major problem happens in the software. This field has become a very hot topic as far as drug discovery is concerned. And there's a lot of focus, lot of research going on to understand and to identify molecules which can correct the software so that the hardware will be normal. So when I was a student, we also discovered two molecules, one curcumin and garcinon. So they are again, they are epigenetic modulators. So what they do, they have both are patented, and they are being used as they are not in the in the market, but they are still in the clinical trials to see whether they can be used against epigenetic based cancer therapy. So there is another a major enzyme that we are working in the lab. It's an DOT1, and this enzyme is involved in a lot of functions. It is involved in cell cycle, leukemia, cardiac function, and so many functions. Now, one of the major problems that happens with this enzyme is that during leukemia, this enzyme becomes mad. Mad in the sense that if it has to go to position A, it goes to position B, C, D, E. What it does there, it turns on genes. And once those genes are turned on, they contribute to leukemogenesis. Now the question is, if we can inhibit this enzyme, can we reduce leukemogenesis? So this work is still being done. We have not, it is not complete, but we have, identified a molecule which is a potent inhibitor of this enzyme. And when we treat cells with this molecule, we can significantly reduce the cellular proliferation. So, as I said, your choices in life, they will have impact on your genes. So, if we make small and subtle changes in our lifestyle, I think we will be able to reduce a lot of diseases. Most of the diseases that are currently happening, whether in Kashmir or in other places of the world, most of them are lifestyle diseases. When we look at incidences of the cancers, 25 years back, I think it was very rare to find people having cancer. Now you see every family, directly or indirectly, is affected because of this disease. The reason is our lifestyle has significantly changed. What we eat, how we interact with it, the way we take stress about small things. That has severely impacted the way our physiology works. So if, as individuals, as family members, if we make small and positive changes in our lifestyle, I'm 100% sure that we can reduce lot of disease. I'll give you this last slide, and I'll go to the science page for a few more slides. There was a very beautiful, I'll give you a very simple example why I was telling you that small changes in life make huge difference. It was a very beautiful experiment that was done on mice. So 2 sets of mice were taken. One were cared by the mother, they were nurtured by the mother, the others were left without mother. Once they were born, they were left and they were fed food normally like the other ones. And when the stress response genes were looked, the mice which were nurtured by the mother, their stress response genes were on. That means they were more able to cope up with challenges, they were more able to cope up with stress. Whereas the other set of mice which were neglected by the mother, which were like not with their mothers, they had tremendous, problems in terms of their behavior. They were not able to cope up with it. It's a very simple, example. What I'm saying is, small changes in life can make huge differences as individuals, as as families, as society. Small kids at home, if we give them positive environment, if we give them hope, if we give them, good habits, they will be successful in life. They will be efficient in terms of solving problems. And God forbid, if they face any challenge tomorrow, they will be mentally tougher than other individuals. I'll give you another, this is not about the young generation, but when I was growing up, the childhoods were very rough. There was like, people will go outside, play, there was no restriction, nothing, no TVs, no phones. Even if TV was there, like, you will have hardly movies coming on Saturday and Sunday, and the rest of the days there was nothing. But if you look, our generation compared to the generation which is growing up, I would say with confidence, they are not as good in terms of coping up with stress in facing the challenges as we are. The reason is because the lifestyle has dramatically changed. My point is, if we give positive environment, if we give, if we provide good lifestyle to our kids, they will develop into successful and, very good individuals as well. And whatever we do at, at family level, it will have an impact on our kids in future as well. Right. Now coming to because this is a science popularization, seminar, I would say, career in science is challenging, but at the same time, it is rewarding as well as fruitful. I believe that if there is no challenge in life, it takes fun away from the life. So there should be always some type of masala going on in the life that makes it more interesting. Because that's what I said, the beauty of science is it is extremely challenging. You have to read throughout your life, you have to be updated, you have to constantly keep on thinking about problems. But that is the beauty as well. Now, when we talk about career in science, it gives you a lot of advantages over other fields. I would say I won't like a job where I have to go in the morning and sit whole day and come back at 5 o'clock. I technically, or personally speaking, I will not prefer that kind of life. And I'm sure a lot of you would not also prefer to have that life. You need to have a life which is filled with adventure, filled with curiosity, filled with looking at things and finding answers to the problems. First of all, the beauty of science is it gives you the freedom to understand things. It allows you to understand how things work. How many if you look at the world population, how many people get that opportunity to understand things, how things work, the way they work? Many things. And if you get that opportunity, I think you should feel yourself fortunate. Okay, I have, God has given me this opportunity to understand how His, creation works, how His universe works. That is one. It helps you to build knowledge. See, we cannot we cannot depend on outsiders, or we cannot depend on people from other parts of the world that they can only build knowledge. I mean, we have the ability, we have the capacity to build knowledge. So this is, science gives you the advantage, the opportunity to build or to create new knowledge. Of course, one of the fundamental essence of science is to address societal problems. There are, so many problems that are extremely confined to this region. We talk about healthcare, lot of diseases. You talk about climate change, we are more prone because of the Himalayan nature, because of the fragile environment, we are more prone to climate change. You talk about biodiversity, we have one of the richest biodiversity in the country, but what we are doing for this preservation, what we are doing for this conservation, everybody knows about it. I will give one example. I think I come from South Kashmir. I think this is the horticulture belt. This is the area which produces most of the apples in the valley. This year we have seen how much damage has happened to the apple industry has been pushed to the back foot. We all know the reasons. But if we would have developed technologies, if we would have developed certain industrial units so that we would have been less dependent on people outside, we could have developed some facilities here which could have helped our industries to grow. For example, we can produce the best apple juice here. We don't need to get Del Monte apple juice from outside. We have the best apple here, we have the resources, but what we need is we need technology, we need innovation, we need a scientific mindset which can develop such industries, which can develop such startups. They have huge potential. We are gifted with tremendous water resources. Do we still need to export aquafina from outside? I mean, we can develop those facilities here, we can develop those industries here, but that is possible only through science and technology. The future will belong to those who will invest in science and technology. As a society also, we can address a lot of problems. We can address both social as well as economic. If we are able to motivate our young generation, we are able to inspire them to take up science, take up research. It's not only, for example, you have taken up science, it's not necessary that you have to do research. You can start a startup tomorrow. There are so many startups coming now, and if you have a scientific background, I think it always gives you more clarity, it gives you more, that authenticity when you start a startup company. You can develop an app. Why we need to rely on Chinese or other apps? We can, as young kids, probably we can become an innovator, develop an app which can help us to diagnose a particular disease. Science is not only, as I said, the science is also an enterprise in current times. You can earn a lot of money also if you are smart and develop certain technologies which have a direct societal implications. Science also helps us to develop policies. Whatever policies we see in the government circulars, technically all of them should have a solid scientific background. Then only in policy comes into existence. Whether it is school education, whether it is healthcare, whether it is agriculture, I think every policy should go through scientific scrutiny to see it is advantageous as well as disadvantageous. So with these words, I will say one thing that again, science is beautiful, it is rewarding, and it's an enterprise. Science is not a problem; it is a solution to the problems. And one thing that science doesn't take you away from God; it brings you closer to the God, because you see the beauty of creation very closely when you are a scientist. You see, there are 20 amino acids in the cell, right? They can have millions of combinations, but only one combination is useful for the cell. The rest is, if the other combinations come together, it makes a protein which will harm than be useful. But you understand the beauty of creator when you are a researcher, when you are a scientist, when you have that curiosity in the mind, how God has created this universe. A single, for example, a single change in DNA, or a single change in protein. Suppose you have a protein which has 300 amino acids. One amino acid changes to another amino acid, and then you have a problem. And you can understand how beautifully the life has been designed. So science doesn't take you away from God. If you are a true scientist, if you are a true researcher in every field, I think it brings you closer to the God. So with these words, I wish you all the best. And again, as I said, there is need for more such, seminars, conferences in schools and colleges so that we can inspire more and more students to pick up science. At the University of Kashmir or at the Center for Interdisciplinary Research, we'll be more than happy to host students from this college or from other colleges who can come there, have a hands-on training on simple things, so that they see science very closely so that they get inspired. Even in our life, if we can inspire few people, each one of us, I think again, as I said in the morning itself, I think that will be a big contribution to the society. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Your thought-provoking address set a platform for the conference. Rightly said, indeed, our students are not less in any way from others in the rest part of the world. But we need to motivate and inspire them for finding solutions for their problems themselves and take society to the next level. There, so you can take your seat, sir, please. Yeah, if usually plenary talks we don't take questions, but anyway, if anybody has any query, you can ask, sir. Do we have? I don't think so.
Thanks a lot, sir. What I could infer from your speech is that nobody is born intelligent because we are ruled by our environment. My simple question is there any relationship between epigenetics and our thinking? We have positive thinking and negative thinking. How much it influences our genes?
Environment has profound impact. It has profound impact on our genes. Like for example, if you, I said it last time also somewhere that if you interact with people who are critical and who are negative about everything, after some time you start developing that bias. And if you live with people who are positive, who have good thoughts, it reflects in our personality as well. That's what like in religion also, if you are with good people, you will inherit some good things. But epigenetics explains that how that is possible. For example, see, our physiology cannot explain how our surroundings affect our physiology. It can be explained only because everything that we do in life, whether it's positive thinking or negative thinking, it has an influence on our genes. It has been shown that people who live under constant stress, they will have a different profile, and those who live in good conditions, they will have a different profile. So our mindset or the people around us, their mindset will have an impact on our physiology.
So how to deal with that is if here the science imposes remains to the humanity. So how to deal with that scenario? Because we have number of issues which we have the
See, science can be used in both ways. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad as well. Now, when it comes to ethical issues, for example, we are doing, let's presume you are doing some experiments with some plants, you are genetically modifying them, and then you are testing them for different things, whether they have resistance to drought, whether they are, resistance to different insects. Now, this is where the regulatory mechanism comes. We need to have a strong regulatory mechanism where whatever you do in the lab or whatever you want to do, if it has ethical concerns, it has to go through a regulatory board. Once they approve it, then only you can do those kind of things. For example, if you are genetically modifying a plant, you should not develop a plant which will be so invasive that it can overtake everything in the vicinity. And you don't need that kind of genetically modified plant. That is what when you do when you deal with genetically modified plants, you always do field experiments. Field experiments in the sense that you have very limited area where you are allowed to do those experiments. When you feel that your restrictive experiments are working, then you can slowly expand the area. But there has to be regulatory checks at every point to ensure that whatever you are doing, it doesn't become a problem for the society. Same is the case with, for example, stem cells. There are disagreeing opinions regarding the use of stem cells for therapy. Because some people say if you use stem cells for therapy, you have to get it from the embryo, right? The blastocyst, which is around 8 cell stage, something or even higher stem cell. Now, there is a debate that if you are taking stem cells from embryo and you are using them for curing a patient, that means you are killing one life and you are saving another life. So that is the ethical part. But that is why there is a lot of research that is currently going, and some of the studies have been very successful to convert non-stem cells into stem cells and then use them for therapeutic purposes. Now, I think in every country, in every society, there are regulatory mechanisms to ensure that science ethics is followed, both letter and spirit, and also if you do some kind of experiments which in future could be harmful for the society, I think there are enough mechanisms to ensure that that kind of research is not allowed. And if it is allowed in a very gradual manner so that every harmful effect is properly controlled.
Simply and basically the world or humanity has suffered the superiority syndrome. People claim that they are the sons of the prophet, especially the Jews, which always claim that we belong to the prophets. And same is in the Arabic society. Now we came to know that this DNA is only this is the hardware. It is actually the epigenetics, or it is actually the Quran says, "Na karamakum indallah yattaqun." These are the actions. And the last sermon of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during his last hajj, he said that no Arab is superior to non-Arab, or no white is superior to black. And there is no superiority as such. It is actually the actions, it is actually the epigenetics, while you live, what is your behavior, what things have modified your behavior, it will indicate the superiority. It is very good, sir. I got just to relax. And the second observation is that that we should know the science of things. We should know what is the science behind things. For example, if Kashmir has the GI cancer, the concentration, the percentage is very high, we should know what is the reason, what is the science behind these things. Absolutely, sir, it is beautiful. And
I'll respond to see, you said the last sermon of Prophet. I think Prophet Sassan was very clear at the last sermon that all of you are saints. And among you, the person whose actions are good, he is the best among them. The caste and the other things, I don't believe in that. I think that is total, it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't have any value. Somebody who will say that I am the descendant of Prophet and then doing things in the society which a non-believer cannot do, how can you link these two things? So I would say that as humans, your actions will speak who you are. Regarding the GI cancer, that's what I think the job of the new generation is to take up science, because we have a lot of problems in the society, and if we don't have our own researchers who will pick up these problems, I don't think our centers will be interested. They will come here, they will take some samples, they will publish a paper, but I don't think they will have that much seriousness as somebody from here would have.
So due to paucity of time, we won't be able to take more questions. I know this is very interesting and it will go on and on. but we are already running late. Having said that, I request this was their participants, so this was Dr. Altaf Bhatt. With his characteristics, incisiveness, he explained in today's lecture the science of life and urged us to take science as a career as well. With these words, I request our Dean, Faculty of Sciences, Dr. Abdul Majid Jalkus, to present a memento to the keynote speaker as a token of love and appreciation for our proud alumnus. So please, Umar sir will.
कितने 45 मिनट्स
Where only sir?
जीरो लाइक से
We feel very proud to have our alumni, such a great alumni in past. And I am doubly excited because my student, he is also alumnus of this college, he is a student of the great alumnus of the college. Thank you, sir. Now, moving forward with the proceedings of this session, I request Professor Mir Khusro from Department of Botany to propose the formal vote of thanks.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Respected Chief Guest of the National Conference, Dr. Altaf Bhatt, who happens to be Director at the Syria University of Kashmir. Respected Abdul Majid Chalkusar, who happens to be the Head Department of Botany and Dean Sciences. Dr. Riaz, who happens to be the Head Department of Mathematics. Professor Shakti Prakash sir, who is Head Department of BCA. Dr. Sabzar Ahmed Dar, and co-convener and organizer of this two-day national conference. Professor Farooq Ahmed Malik, Secretary, Academic Staff Council, Government Degree College, Anantnag. There are lots of luminaries in this two-day national conference. I welcome you all with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, I would like to pay homage and gratitude to respected and honorable and highly venerated Principal Sir, who supported us and provided every support in organizing this event. And then, moving ahead, I would like to express gratitude I will like to express gratitude to each and every faculty member present here who have in one way or the other way supported us in carrying out this two-day national conference in a hassle-free manner. And you know, programs like these, they do not happen overnight, and the wheel starts rolling, I think, months in advance. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of highly enthusiastic students and other volunteers. I would take this opportunity to thank all those students who have shown their willingness and participated in carrying out their assigned tasks in an efficient way. I would also take this opportunity to thank the technical person, particularly Mr. Muntazir. Without you, man, this would have been very difficult for us to organize this event in a smooth manner. And last but not the least, I would take this opportunity to congratulate and thank the Department of Zoology and other organizing members or this two-day national conference, that they have worked with the sweat of their brows to carry out this two-day national conference, to organize this two-day national conference in a smooth manner. And lastly, I would conclude this vote of thanks with one couplet from Zarbi Kalim from Allama Iqbal, that जो आलमे ईजाद में हो साहिबे ईजाद, जो आलमे ईजाद में हो साहिबे ईजाद, हर दौर में करता है तवाफ उसका ज़माना. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mir Khusru. I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Mukhtar Khande, his director, South Campus, for gracing this occasion by your presence, sir. Thank you very much. Now, I know everyone is feeling hungry, so we will take a lunch break here. And after lunch break, we will meet in the second program, that is at ideation and program that will be taking place here in this conference hall. So I request all the registered participants to be here, and rest of the participants will go to the Shamiana. The lunch will be served to registered participants here in the conference hall, and others please move to the Shamiana for lunch. And after the lunch break, we will meet again here at 2:30. At 2:30, please.
6 बंदे टोटल 6 बंदे 7 ना 6 मैम बाकी में पता नहीं बस
Ready कर बांग करना बांग